Greetings from North High School. My name is Andy Dolan, and it's my pleasure to be creating this podcast. This is one of 4 podcasts that our principals will be creating and sharing with our staff. The purpose of the podcast is to free up some of your time during the back-to-school faculty meetings so that you can get better prepared for the beginning of the year. The second purpose of the podcast is to give you this flexibility to listen and hopefully reflect at a time when it's convenient to you. The objectives for the podcast is to talk a little bit about the theme for this next year, the observational emphasis that principals will give teachers, some reminders, and a couple of policies. Let's begin. In 2013, we adopted a phrase that every student needs a champion. We adopted this theme after we watched a YouTube video by Rita Pearson. Rita is a teacher who attempts to make a difference with her students every day, and we have this same responsibilities to encourage, to prompt, to motivate, and I think that's what resonated with us. We developed a Google form and added names of students who would benefit from having a champion. Faculty identified the interests of students and then made connections with them. Great job. I'm really proud of our staff. But I think we can do more. On the screen is a history of North High North High dropouts for the last 5 years. You'll notice across the top for different colors is different years. Across the bottom is freshmen, sophomores, juniors, or seniors. A lot of kids. The first thing that resonates with me, that I notice anyway, is that sophomore year is fairly large. And I guess that makes sense when you think about students have to be in school until they're 16, so that's a critical year. But I want you to take a look from right to left of the numbers that are in red. That's the class of 2014. There's 3, 5, 12, and 4 students when there are freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. 24 students out of the class of 2014 dropped out. We actually have a couple more students who did not complete some summer work that we were expecting. So it's anywhere between 24 and 26 students dropped out from the class of 2014. And with that class only being about 240 to 250 kids, that's 10 to 11% of the students out of that class dropped out during their 4-year career. That's too many. We need to do a better job. Maybe we can save 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids out of that class next year. So we need to do our part. And I think this theme, every student needs a champion, can make a difference. Make the connections, develop the relationships, and do what you possibly can for the benefit of our students. Thank you very much. In 2014, principals have some observational emphasis, and I created a pie chart. Learning objective. We've talked about in the past, it's called SWABAT. Students will be able to, it should be posted so all students can see it. We're pretty good about that. But it has to be a clear statement of knowledge or information as opposed to an activity or even an assignment. The teacher should make reference to the learning goal throughout the lesson, not just at the beginning, not just in the middle, but throughout the lesson. And actually, in my opinion, to get to that distinguished category, we ask students, if I come into that classroom, can they explain that learning objective in their own words? Or how the activities were related to that learning goal? Or even can they tell us the rubric and about what expectations you have for that learning objective? We're getting better. The next category is primetime 1 and 2. And of course, primetime 1 is the first 10 minutes of class, and primetime 2 is the last 10 minutes of class. We've emphasized that for the last 4 years, I believe, and I think we're really good at primetime 1. We start our classes on time. There's meaningful activities at the beginning, and we're doing a good job. Primetime 2, I think we can get slightly better. We're pretty good, but I think we can get slightly better. So again, we need to emphasize the last few minutes of class period, wrapping up a lesson, maybe tying it to that learning objective, or if they've already mastered that, then going on to the next lesson. What's going to be tomorrow's preview? And I think we can do that in that last few minutes of class. When I was coaching, I always said, start when the play begins and end when the whistles. So it's the same idea. When the bell rings, then we're done and not before. Formative assessments, Over the course of the last few years, we've increased our framework with regards to formative assessments. I've seen the traditional measures of formative assessments, exit slips, questions and answers, short quizzes, non-graded activities, and we're getting better. And so we need to continue to grow in that area. I think with more conversation, we can even get better. Reading and writing is an emphasis, not only in terms of our observational emphasis, but also with our SIP goal. So more information will follow there. But again, textual writing and textual reading will be helpful, and it'll be matched with our SIP goal. Hallway rapport is important, that we, again, be present in the hallway. It helps between class periods to be there. I think it's a good way to connect with kids, but also it defines our climate and our culture within our building. And if there are issues, we address them. And then finally, a new category of emphasis is the PLC involvement. And we've done a great job with defining power learning targets in most of our areas. We've done a good job with defining common assessments and even analyzing those results. But where I want us to go is the third part of the PLC model, which is what do we do when students haven't learned it? And it really matches with the formative assessments. And so during our discussions every Wednesday when we're having PLCs, I want to have some discussions about what are we doing when students haven't learned it? How do we know when they haven't learned it? And then what are we going to be doing? And I think we can improve our performance in that area. So there's the visual for the observational emphasis for this year. Thought you'd need that. And we can talk more about that later. Just some reminders. The first day of school will not be a late start, even though it is a Wednesday. We'll start at 8:05. I would also encourage you to create as much excitement for your course as possible. Show your passion, show your excitement, and create engaging activities for that first day. The second suggestion is to spend an extra day or two before that first assessment so that students get off to a great start. I'm hoping that your students will do well and begin with that optimistic attitude to begin this school year. So overteach. I think it'll be successful. The next reminder is the complimentary PTSA membership. I've been able to support that with some discretionary funds, but there's a form that will be in your mailbox during the first part of the school year. And so again, when you see that, make sure you fill it out and support that part. United Way is something that I'm very passionate about. The United Way campaign will begin in October, but I'd like to put in a plug for United Way today. Just last week, United Way distributed over 5,000 backpacks to children in Cass and Clay counties. They have developed the imagination and adopted that program along with a food backpack program. We really benefit from a strong presence of United Way in our community. I hope that you'll be able to find it in your heart and in your budget to support United Way. It's another way that we can be champions. I'm also hoping that we can increase the number of staff who donate through the payroll deduction. It's easy and more information will follow. Just another reminder about the staff IDs. We expect all teachers and support staff to wear their IDs during the course of the day, so make sure that you find those. I don't know if you noticed, but in the employee portal, there was an opportunity to change your benefits during this month of August. So if you need to change your benefits with regards to either health insurance, vision, or dental insurance, I think maybe life insurance, now is the time to be able to do that. So if your status has changed or if you need to add or subtract people from them, make sure that you take care of that here this month. Just a review of policy. The first policy to review is the profanity policy. Just a reminder that if students are using profanity, it's either directed at a staff member or another student. You need to get the assistant principals involved in that. Also, we need you to do your part in helping out in the hallways, which we call slippage, and again, needing to address that. Second policy is a reminder of the no hats. Could have also probably put hoods, pop, or food in the classroom. Let's all do our part. We are also adjusting our student cell phone policy. We're allowing student cell phone use between periods and also in the commons, but it's strictly prohibited in the use of cell phones in the classroom unless there's an educational reason. Finally, the last policy is the alcohol and drug policy. You'll notice what I wrote up here. What should teachers do when a student is suspected of being under the influence of drugs or alcohol? I created this flow chart here a while back, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It's probably something you should review. Again, main thing is that if you have somebody under the influence that you believe is under the influence of narcotics or alcohol, make sure that you notify the main office. They will in turn get a hold of an assistant principal. Assistant principal will go down to the classroom, and then the principal will do their investigation. And from there, it'll be one of two options. Either the student is not under the influence from our determination and they will return to class. We'll inform parent and teacher. On the flip side, if there is a possession or found to be under the influence, the parent and police are called, charges are filed, so Chad Moan gets involved, and the student is suspended for the remainder of the day plus a couple of more. And the principal will inform the teacher, counselor, and drug awareness counselor. So again, just wanted you to be aware of that. It doesn't do us any good if you wait till a day later or even towards the end of the day. It needs to be done immediately. So there's the emphasis. Well, that's the end of my podcast. Again, I'd like to welcome you back to the beginning of the 50th year of Northeye's existence. I'm hoping we're going to have a great year. Again, a reminder that the teacher reporting date is Friday, August 22nd. Also, all FPS employees are invited to be at the Shields opener on Monday for the non-certified staff. That will also be paid. And then all support staff will report on Wednesday, August 27th, the first day of school. Let's have a great year. Thank you.